Hi everyone, my name is Ryan and I'm the midlife skier. I've recently become obsessed with skiing after being out of it for the last 20 to 25 years. Getting back into skiing and facing a long off season, one of the things I've thrown myself into is preparing for the upcoming 25-26 ski season. One of the things I dug into during the off season was researching the gear I should try out during the upcoming ski season. So I took advantage of off-season sales to accumulate a bunch of new ski gear to use. And I was recently able to get my first turns of the season. And so in doing that, I was able to try out a lot of this new gear. And so today I'm going to give you my initial thoughts. First, let's talk about base layers. When I skied earlier in 2025, I didn't really have much in the way of base layers. So I hit some sales to get Smartwool zero cushion ski socks, some Smartwool thermal merino tops, and I used a 30% off coupon to get the CWX men's endurance insulator 3/4 compression tights. Trying these out for one day, they all work great. I didn't like that the CWX doesn't have a fly. And so when you need to use the bathroom, it's a little harder, but you can work around it. But anyway, it was a little hard to get on due to how tight it is, but I think that's kind of the point. That's how it helps you, the compression and support. But anyway, it kept me warm, and it did seem to support my legs well. As I've heard and as I saw, the socks were fantastic. The Smartwool zero cushion ski socks were great. And we'll just have to see how they hold up over the season. But so far, so good. Next, let's talk about mid layers. Having lost a lot of weight over the last year, I was worried about keeping myself warm. I've lost some insulation, and so staying warm has gotten a little more challenging than it used to be. So I found some merino quarter zip pullovers on the clearance rack at REI over the summer. So I bought a couple. And so using one of these pullovers worked really well for me. I put it on top of my base layer shirt. And so anyway, again, it worked really well. Being quarter zip, it allows you to adjust the zipper. So as you get hotter or colder, you can kind of make adjustments. But it never got wet. I never got too hot or sweaty. It worked really good. Found a really good off-season sale on Helly Hansen's webpage. Picked up the Garibaldi 2.0 ski jacket. It was on sale for about $200. And then also I found a fantastic July 4th sale on evo.com for a pair of Garibaldi 2.0 ski pants, and these were about $100. Note that the Helly Hansen ski pants run really big, so make sure to order one size smaller than you normally would. As I found out, I ended up getting a pair of large, and they were way too big. So I had to order another pair of medium, and those fit much, much better. Both of these Helly Hansen outerwear pieces seem really nice. They've got waterproof zippers. They've got zippered vents. The jacket, of course, in the pits, and then the pants along your outer thighs. Both have plenty of pockets where you would want them. I really like the jacket in that it has two chest pockets on the jacket, so you can get stuff in and out. Plus, it's of course has a sleep pass pocket. I only later realized that the pants are shell and not insulated. So this kind of worried me. I'm used to, again, I'm kind of getting cold easier now. So I was worried that not having insulated pants would be a problem. However, in at least 20 degrees, which I know definitely is not nearly as cold as it's going to be at later times this season, The pants were fine with just the CWX base layer bottoms. So, I'm optimistic that, maybe with one more layer, I'll be fine on my legs. And I know obviously skiing, once you get going, your legs kind of warm themselves up quite well anyway. The jacket was extremely soft, comfortable, and warm. It was easy to pack as well in my luggage. And so anyway, I was very pleased with both these outerwear products after one day of use. We'll see how it goes over the rest of the season. The next item I was able to try out was a neck tube. I actually bought a few merino neck warmers on sale. One was a Smartwool and another one, Evo brand from evo.com. The Evo one actually ended up being a lot longer, so I used it first. I ended up pulling it over my head and then having the top opening go from the top of my head to my chin. I've seen other people do that. That actually ended up working really well. It kind of helped my helmet fit a little better, and it kept my head and the back of my neck really warm, and it allowed me to adjust it from my nose down to my chin as I got hotter or cooler. And so anyway, it worked really good, and I think it was the cheapest thing I bought. So anyway, so far so good on that. We'll see how that goes. I bought a couple pairs of merino glove liners from REI on clearance, again around July 4th. And so these are to try to prevent my hands from soaking the ski gloves with sweat. I mean, that's the problem I had earlier in the year. I had a pair of gloves and they were just, when I'm skiing, I don't know, I guess I'm gripping the poles and my hands would just kind of get sweaty, a little too hot. So anyway, I'm hoping these liners kind of, it was a problem because the gloves, when your hands sweat, the gloves get wet on the inside and drying them out was very hard. It took literally days. And so, of course, if you put on a wet pair of gloves in a cold morning the next day, very uncomfortable. So anyway, I'm hoping these liners will prevent that. So next, I found a pair of Leaky Griffin base ski gloves that are trigger system compatible. These are on sale at a little website I found, utahskigear.com. And so anyway, these, seem real nice. I was excited to get trigger system. I ended up getting trigger system poles with my skis that I bought from my ski shop. So I was excited to have gloves that worked with these, and they seem pretty good. I also had a pair of heated ski gloves. These are the ones that I used earlier in the year that really made my hands sweat. These are just a pair off Amazon, just kind of cheap, electrically heated ski gloves. Ironically, I talked about, they were quite warm and they made my hands sweat. I've actually never used the electric heating part on these gloves. I've never needed to. So anyway, I've got these gloves, for my early season ski day. I used the glove liners plus the Leaky gloves. One thing I noticed was that after the first run, my fingers were extremely cold. And again, I don't know if this is a new thing. I think what it was is that because it was my first time skiing in a while, I think I had a death grip on my poles for the first run. And I think I was like very tightly gripping. And I think that's why my fingers, maybe it cut off the blood circulation. I was gripping so tight that I think that's why they got cold. Because after that, during and after my second run and later runs, as I relaxed more, my fingers were fine temperature wise with this glove setup. So anyway, maybe next time I'll start off with the Amazon gloves and then move to the Leakies after a run or two. We'll just have to see. So we'll see how these work. The next items to talk about are my ski boots. So I've done a separate video about my boot fitting experience. So be sure to check that out. But I was real excited to try them out on the snow for the first time. I've been breaking them in by wearing them kind of around the house, or while sitting in the house, to get them ready for the season, get them packed out a little bit, a little more comfortable. And again, I was just super excited to use these on snow for the first time. And the good news is they seem to do fantastic. I've seen other videos of other folks on YouTube, having issues with boots, custom fit boots, and really not being able to tell that there's an issue until they actually skied with them. And so I was super nervous that, after getting these boots, going for all the stuff to get them, that how are these going to ski? Are they going to be okay? And I was very relieved that they skied fantastic. They kept my feet warm and comfortable. I was never cold, never any numbness, no pain. I had no foot pain. I had no calf pain during or after my ski day. This is the first time I've been able to ski without having terrible calf pain the next day or later. And so I think that has to do with the boot. Perhaps that has to do with just my skills coming and getting a little bit better. My feet were definitely able to relax in these boots, like my toes weren't clenched. And so anyway, just a really good experience. I definitely felt like I had a bit better control of the skis than I have in the past with rental boots. I wouldn't call it a massive difference. And again, perhaps it's psychological. But anyway, my experience was very positive. No weird pain, no discomfort. I think having broken in the boots before using them the first time, I think that's advice I got from, Elliot on Rickety Ski Reviews. And I think that helped a lot. But anyway, I feel like now I've got a great platform with these boots to really progress my skills off of. So very excited about that. The next piece of gear to talk about is my helmet. Many would say probably the most important piece of equipment. So I had an Outdoor Master helmet earlier in 2025, and it worked fine. The problem though I had with it was it got very warm sometimes, almost too warm. My head would get real sweaty, and I'd have to unbuckle it and pull the ear flaps up to try and cool off a little, after skiing for a while. So therefore, I wanted to upgrade to a helmet with movable vents, and preferably MIPS protection. So after some research, I settled on the POC Obex MIPS helmet, which was, I found a July 4th sale on backcountry.com, and the helmet was about $150. So given all the other accessories I end up incorporating onto and into the helmet, I think this ended up being a good choice. So the helmet fits pretty well. It was very comfortable. It was a little tight at first, but I think as I wear it, it seems to be easing up a little, getting a little more comfortable. And most importantly, kept my head a good temperature. It wasn't too hot. It wasn't too cold. And so for a first run, it did real well. And speaking of my helmet, another set of gear has to do with the helmet, mostly helmet communications. So one issue I had earlier in the year when skiing with my family was we kept getting separated. In order to not get separated, we were constantly standing around on the slope waiting for someone to catch up or to come along. And also communicating which slope we were going to go on was another constant issue. We had to stop at every branch point to make sure everyone knew where to go. Therefore, when I saw the Cardo PackTalk outdoor comm system, I was immediately intrigued. It seemed really cool. So here's the main control unit for it. You integrate this into your helmet, and it allows you to link with other Cardo Pack Talk. So you got to buy one for everybody. So you got to buy 2, 3, 4, whatever. I think you can link up to 12 or 16 at a time. And so the cool thing is you simply talk and everyone else hears you like a walkie-talkie, but it's hands-free. So you don't need to worry about fumbling with your gloves or pushing a button or things like that. In addition to acting as a walkie-talkie, it also connects via Bluetooth to your cell phone. With this connection, you can listen to music from your phone, you can take phone calls, or listen to audio from your phone while skiing if you want to. So for me, it worked well with the Carve system, Carve coaching. I was able to hear. So since I was alone, I did not get a chance to try out the walkie-talkie feature. I did get to try out the Bluetooth audio link, and it worked pretty well. Music sounded good. I was able to hear, even those around me, even while hearing music as well. And so the voice commands did not work perfectly. So I'll have to figure that out as time goes on and see if I can get better there, up the sensitivity or something. But I'm eager to try out the walkie-talkie feature, and we'll see how that goes as the season progresses. Along with the helmet, the next bit of gear to talk about is goggles. I had a pair of cheaper Smith goggles earlier in the year. Again, these were okay, but I found myself squinting a lot when the sun was bright, and they were only kind of okay in flat light. And so when it was a day that would go between sunny and cloudy, they were kind of annoying. Therefore, I wanted to upgrade to a pair of goggles with swappable lenses and or photochromic lenses. And these adjust their tint based on the sunlight automatically. So after a lot of research, I settled on 4 possibilities. I was looking at the Oakley Line Miner Pro goggles, the Smith IO Mag, the Zeal Lookout, and the POC Nexol. After researching further, the Smith and Zeal goggles I found had the photochromic capability and seemed the most convenient. So while the Smith had a wider range it could handle, or VLT, I think it's visible light transmission. Basically, that's how much light the goggle lets through to your eye. So the Smith had a wider range, the photochromic lens, but the Zeal had a lower price, and its extra lens put it beyond what the Smith could do for flat light. So the Zeal comes with 2 lenses. One is a photochromic that automatically adjusts, and then it comes with a separate swappable lens for just dedicated low light conditions. I think the Smith comes with an extra lens as well, but it was within the range that the automatically adjusting lens was, so I kind of didn't get the point of it. But anyway, the Zeal seemed to cover with the 2 lenses put together, the broadest range. So anyway, I was able to find a good deal during July 4th. You may pick up on a theme here. Sale. The Zeal Lookout with photochromic lens, plus extra lens, and it was about $160 during the sale, which was a pretty good price. So anyway, during my first day of skiing, this goggle did extremely well. The photochromic feature worked well. It was mostly a bluebird day, but there was occasional clouds coming in, but it worked really good. I was never squinting. It was never too bright. It never fogged up at all. It was really good in that regard. Kept my face warm and comfortable the whole time. So we'll see how this Zeal goggle does as time goes on and I encounter different conditions. But so far, so good. The final bit of gear to talk about is a backpack and hydration pad. So being a great drinker of water, I drink a lot of water. It's important to me to have water available to drink at all times. given the potential for altitude sickness as well, and typically low humidity of cold environments, which, looks what it's like when you're skiing, staying hydrated while skiing is critical for me. So I wanted to find the smallest hydration pack I could that could carry a few small items as well as water for me to drink. I have a combo backpack hydration pack from earlier in the year that I got off of Amazon for pretty cheap. And I used this earlier, 2025. However, this pack really sucked because the hydration bladder that it came with, when I put water in it, everything that came out of it had a rubbery taste. Tasted like rubber cement or something. So anyway, I found myself as the day went on just not wanting to drink due to the taste. So I flushed it several times. I think the hose was fine. It was the bladder. But the taste would not go away. It just tastes very rubbery. So anyway, I decided I wanted to upgrade to a more reputable brand and hope that the taste would not be there. I found the Dakine Session 8-liter hydration pack and ordered it. And it stores a perfect amount of water. It's 2-liter bladder, and has extra storage for small additional items like extra GoPro batteries or lenses, or a couple protein bars in there, an extra pair of gloves, etc. I don't need a big pack. I'm not going off resort. I don't need avalanche gear at this point. So just a small pack, just water and a little bit of other stuff is just what I wanted. So anyway, I tried this out and was very happy to find that the water tasted great. Hooray. It tasted like water. It didn't have a weird aftertaste. And it was easy to put on, comfortable to wear, and water was always readily available while skiing, or especially on the lift. The lift is where, pull it down and drink a bit. So anyway, we'll see how this holds up over the season, but I'm very happy with it initially. And, I think it was about $40 or $50. So, not a bad price. And I'm going to use the heck out of it. All in all, I was very pleased with the gear I was able to try out for the first time. It all reflects large upgrades from what I previously had. It'll be interesting to see how the different pieces of gear handle colder conditions and a lot more usage. I strongly recommend waiting for end of season and off season sales. A theme you might have picked up on, were July 4th sales. There was a Labor Day sale. There were even some early season sales. But anyway, a lot of this gear you can pick up for a pretty big discount, 20, 30, 50% discount if you wait for these off-season sales. So I definitely recommend that. Another big thing is I also recommend not caring about particular colors or matching things when shopping. That can save you a lot of money. So for example, my coat and pants aren't the same color. So I think they look fine, together, but they're not the same color because, it's often limited which colors are on sale. So if you don't care as much about that, I think you can, again, get a much better deal. So anyway, I'll circle back at the end of the season to report on where everything ended up and what I learned along the way. But I'm hoping this information can be useful for others as the 26 off-season sales get going, at the end of this 25-26 season. So again, this is kind of my initial thoughts on this gear. I definitely, if need it, get it, but I would hold off and, wait till May or June or July of 26 to go shopping and re-gear up. And I'll definitely have out an update video before then to kind of let people know where things ended up. So anyway, that's all for today, and I hope you have a great day.